Hi and welcome back. Nice to see you all, and for those of you who are just joining me, welcome. We're going to be talking about the new moon in Taurus, and the only words I have for that is really breathe. Fantastic. This is going to give us a well-deserved break. So before I get into the details of the new moon in Taurus, what I want to say to you is that I made a mistake in the last video. Those who have been watching will know that I talk about Capricorn going into retrograde, and this is in the second half of the video, and really what I meant to say was that Saturn goes into retrograde in Capricorn. The other thing I'd just like to say is a lot of people have been contacting me because they've been trying to deal with particularly the fears and the power struggles of their co-workers or people that they're coming in contact with. And you've got the tools to deal with that. That just means be assertive and don't be drawn in to any of that murky water of fear or power struggle. Just hold your ground. And the other thing to remember in this time is, remember a lot earlier on, I spoke about how Chiron has moved, and Chiron is talking, and it's about Aries, and in Aries, and Chiron is talking about our values underneath and above. So we're starting to see people's true colours coming out with these fears, and we're starting to see our own true colours through our responses to these people with their fears and their power struggles. So just be aware of that. Okay. The other thing that I'd like to say, if it's you who is currently trying to deal with your own fears that are coming up, then what I spoke about earlier is quite true. Just name it and understand what their trigger has been. I mean, I've also been dealing with these fears in very subtle, gentle ways, popping up to the surface and being a bit surprised about them, and then going, oh, okay, I know what's driving that. And then once you know what's driving that, then you can take action to either negate it or to release it. And that's really what it's about. So let's leave that there and let's move into the next week, which is the new moon in Taurus. And as you can probably see from me, I'm quite pleased to be having this new moon in Taurus, because Taurus, it is an earth sign, but it's a very gentle earth sign, and it's about nurturing us, and it's a really lovely sign, and particularly given the retrogrades of Saturn and Pluto, and because they're in their early stages of retrogrades, that early movement is when the energies are the most unsettled. So that's when we start to see the most these quick shifts in people's behaviours, or the most upheaval. So, so nice. So the new moon is going to be in Taurus, and it's going to join Uranus and Ceres. Now, Uranus is the planet of unexpected happenings. It's the quickness. It's an interesting planet, and it has a tendency to like to shake things up. But it's with the moon, the gentle moon, so it was going to temper the behavior of Uranus. So that's lovely. And don't forget, Earth is normally about how we interact on the world, how we make our living, and it's got to do with where we work, how we work, where we live, and how we live fundamentally, and of course all those immediate aspects around that. So it's going to be very, very nice. The other nice thing about this is that Ceres is also in Taurus, so the moon meets with Taurus. Ceres is the Earth Mother. So the Earth Mother in the Earth, in a house of Earth Taurus is lovely. It's just really, really nice. And then later on this month, Venus and Mercury will also move into Taurus. So that's going to be a pretty busy house, but a really nice house. And so there will start to be a lot of movement, good movement, solid progression about how we live, where we live, and how we make our living and where we make our living. The other thing about the other aspect that joins the moon is that the North Node, which is karmic pathways and lessons, is also going to be in harmony with the new moon. So that's also nice. So that allows us then to start making some plans. So Taurus in itself, and this particular new moon, it's about simple pleasures, simple earthly pleasures. It's about our senses. It's about what we see, how we eat, where we live, what we do, how we enjoy life. And it's wonderful and it's gentle. The other thing about that is it's good changes. It's a good time for changes. So remember, new moons typically is a great time to kick off some changes that we want to happen. And of course, being Taurus, it's about our lives on this planet. So that's very, very nice. It's setting up to be a lovely, lovely time. It will also harmonize Neptune, Saturn and Pluto, as well as the North Node. So the North Node is about our karmic and lessons. Pluto is a little bit about our fears and power, our relationships, power. Saturn is about our planning and making us rework. And those two, remember, are in retrograde, and Neptune is about what lies beneath. So it harmonizes that. What more could you want? It just releases this pressure that's been around fears, and it just smooths it all out. How glorious is that? So just take it in, breathe and relax, and really just use this moon to chill. Do something nice for self-care, but keep it really, really simple. You know, it's a wonderful time to work with earthy things. And you know, probably all you've gathered, that I work a lot with essential oils. So it's a great time to be working with essential oils because they are all from the earth, fundamentally. What's going to happen with this harmonizing, the new moon harmonizing Neptune, Saturn, Pluto, and the North Node, is we're going to get a much stronger sense of purpose. Now, nothing defeats fear better than a sense of purpose. Nothing puts the concept of power and power struggle for power's sake out of our mind other than a sense of purpose, because all of a sudden we see why we want the power. It's to achieve X. We see why we need to go forward with something, so that abates the fear. So this sense of purpose that we're going to get with this new moon is absolutely, again, it's absolutely fabulous, and I'm just loving it, loving it, loving it. The only thing that I caveat perhaps to this new moon in Taurus is that it's also about what they call common sense. There's nothing wrong with common sense. We love it. And deliberate communications, which is very nice. So it's asking us to really think about what we're going to say, how we're going to say it, and when we're going to say it. That's what deliberate communications is about. And it also is going to take us back into some old patterns. Now, there's just one thing I want to say about old patterns, and that is when we're in a state of fear or we're feeling under pressure, we often go back into our old patterns. That's great when the old patterns support and build and expand us in a very harmonizing, harmonic way. What I mean by that is when it's true to our energetic self. It's not good if it is our fallback position because we don't know what else to do and we're doing this from habit. So what I'm going to ask you to do is that when we are considering our responses, our patterns, and our behavior with this new moon, I just want us to keep an eye out that we're not falling back into old patterns and responding to things out of habit. And the reason that I'm saying that is leading up to this, we've had these wonderful 4 months of change where a lot of us have done a lot of releasing, and it would be such a shame to fall back into these old patterns. And you're going to and you're going to feel the need to do that. Likewise, and this is the other thing I just want to say to you, is likewise, use other people who are struggling with these hidden fears. And the reason they're struggling with it is they're feeling uncertain and they've got all these triggers for behaviors, but they don't understand what's driving it. So if you're seeing people around you who are acting on fear-based behaviors, or who are acting on power struggles, old patterns, they're going to want to fall back into old patterns. And these old patterns can also be old relationship status, old communication status, an old way of seeing you. So just be aware that you don't want to fall back into that trap. So I'll just summarize it for you. It's going to be a lovely new moon. We're going to get a really nice sense of purpose. We're going to feel like, oh, at last I know what to do with this. At last I know what my direction should be doing with this. And this will probably come about with some things that we've been struggling with for a while, where we knew we needed to either start something new, or we wanted to start something new, or we wanted to tweak it. So that's what's going to be happening. We're going to get a great sense of purpose. We're going to have a lovely sense of harmony. And we're going to feel like we want to just indulge in little simple things. You'll notice that you'll be walking somewhere and you'll go, oh, that looks like, that's a beautiful sunset. That's a lovely flower. I hadn't seen that before. So that's also what's going to happen. So you're going to get drawn into these simple pleasures of acknowledging the earth. And that's going to be wonderful. It's going to minimize the turbulence that's been caused by Saturn and Pluto in retrograde. And that's really, really good. The only thing I want you to be aware of is don't fall back into old patterns. You've made some conscious choices to move forward, to change things and to get rid of things. So hold true to that. And if you find that you are falling into old patterns, or other people are trying to push you into old patterns or old paradigms, don't go there. Just hold your ground gently but firmly, and it's all going to be good. All right, I think that sounds absolutely wonderful. The only thing I also want to follow up is soon after that, I think about 4 days later, about the 8th and 9th, Mercury is going to move into Taurus. That's also going to help us with our good sense of purpose, and it's fabulous. And that's what I was talking about. It's going to aid us in communications. It's all going to be about going forward, about purpose. You'll find you'll want to be quite clear and deliberate. I've spoken about that again. So Mercury is reinforcing that for you. And that's really good. So Mercury is going to really aid this nice harmonic sense. And it's going to empower you in your conversations with people to move things forward. So that's glorious, right? And remember, with new moons, we've got a good solid week of this energy, and then it sort of tapers off to the next couple of weeks until we go into the full moon. So really make the most of it, and it's going to be glorious. All right. See you soon. Have a lovely, lovely time. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll leave my details down below if you want to get in contact with me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Pinterest. I feel like I'm all over the place, but I'm loving it. So it's really nice talking with you. Okay, bye-bye. Talk soon.